start to brighten other people's world with a smile, all of a sudden the world brightens up around you. It's like reciprocal. It's so interesting, and it's something in psychology that I don't want to talk about more because I don't have the studies in front of me, but it's something about us having a good attitude and keeping a good attitude around the people that we are having or around with that makes us so much better at whatever we want to do. Let's stop fighting beliefs. Stop fighting beliefs and let's try to find common ground. We're all on this planet together. According to statistics, it's the person who's mediocre that actually advances further. But is racism the reason the crime rates are so high? I can't say that. You know, that's a tough question. I don't think it's racism. The crime rates are going to be so high. I'm going to be honest with you. Actually, I can't answer that. It's human nature. And I'm being truthful about where we're going right now. We're not going in the right direction. We're not going in the right direction to heal and mend this country. And more to fruition. So with that being said, you know what time it is, folks. That's right. It's time for more In the Hot Box with Doc Reo. Those of y'all who are watching me right now on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Periscope, and Twitch, you are now into the conversation that I was just into with the folks on Instagram right now. I just want to remind you all, like, let me just tell you this story. And I think it's a better portrayal. And it's a story that I was working on the other day, and I told a lot of people in Clubhouse. And this story for me actually, it takes me back. I had to go back and listen to it because I recorded it and write it down and see what exactly I was talking about, you know, because it was coming from the heart right then and there. And I don't think I can change that. And so let me go back right now and let me take you on a journey, because you got to understand, I've been in this world working a few jobs. Like I talked to y'all last week about having range. You know, I've been in a lot of worlds. I've been doing a lot of different things. And I'm a generalist. I'm a jack of all trades. And, you know, one of the things I feel like I've mastered is I've mastered the understanding the use of a lot of media tools. You know what I mean? I've been involved in several areas of media when it comes to film, television, and everything else. But we'll get to that real soon. But before I start this lesson, I just want to take you on a voyage real quick, you know, because this is one of the things that inspired me to take this journey. And I was at Pierce College in transition and didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was talking with some other veterans and in a community, and I was just thinking about some of the facts. Some of the facts are this. Less than 40% of veterans use their benefits, right? Now understand that. How many veterans do you think there are in the United States right now? Veterans in the United States military, there's a lot of them. But less than 40% utilize their benefits. I think the number is actually 39%. So it's just under 40%. And so imagine if you were a person that left the military, right? And when you left the military, you know, you felt like, you know, you were unsure of what you needed to do next when it came to jobs. You might have went to TAP, which is the Transition Assistant Program, when you get out of the military, and you get some job offers, and you know, it's a little bit confusing because it's not laid out like it was in the military, because we've been trained to receive things a certain way for a certain amount of time. And when you're trained to receive certain things for a certain amount of time, you just kind of get caught up in that way, in that style, in that form. You have to kind of transition and receive things another way. But yet and still, you go through TAP and you're like, okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then imagine you start to seek more information, and things just continue to be confusing. And while things are confusing, you sit there and you're wondering to yourself, you're like, I got these tools, but I don't know how to apply them. You know, I don't really understand what this means. I don't really understand what this office does for me. People are just telling me to go here, but I'm not really trusting them because they don't know me. They're not my brothers and sisters in the military, you know? And so with that, you know, you keep going out and asking more questions. You keep seeking more answers, because that's one of the things we do in the military. Don't get me wrong. A lot of veterans will seek answers and seek answers, but when the answers run up dry, after many answers, after a while you feel like you get the same answer. And when you keep getting the same answer, after a while, we realize that we're not gonna sit around and beat our heads against the wall. We're gonna stop and say, look, the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. The problem is that many of us as veterans are trying it with different expectations and different tactics, but we're not trying it with the right tactics. And we're not trying it from the right perspective. So imagine if you went through all this, you just got out of the military, what would your life be like in 5 years? Well, meet Dante. He's 32 years old, he's a veteran of the United States Marines, and he's decorated, hardcore Marine who fought for this country. And the reason why he left the military, the reason why he came home and got out, is because he wanted to fight for his sick mother. See, that's one thing. I'm an Army veteran, but Marines, I know this about Marines. They always got their people's back. They always will try to be there and leave no man behind. I can't say that about everybody in every armed force. I'm gonna just be honest about that. But I do know this about Marines, and I do know this about corpsmen. They will make sure you come back alive. And if you don't, you're coming back. So, Dante, he goes home and he helps his sick mother who's living in a one-bedroom apartment. He tries to do everything he can to try to give some of the money he earned as an enlisted member of the Marines. And a year later, he has a barrier. Now it's 10 years later. And that strong, helpful, decorated son who fought for this country, he's homeless. This is around the time that I ran into Dante. When he was living on the streets. When he had back paid child support. When he didn't know what to do. I myself was learning about VA benefits. I was trying to do what I could do to get ahead myself and was sifting through all this information on how to get it, on what I could do to get there. You see, when I ran into Dante, he didn't know he had opportunities. We all have opportunities, even when we don't think that we do. I had a social worker tell me in the VA, and I love this social worker, don't get me wrong. This social worker right now, for me, is a strong person, and helped me get through a lot of the humps that I got through. She is one of my veteran advocates. You know what I mean? And for me, she's taken me to another level in my life. She helped me see things from a different way when my life was falling apart. She helped me to see that I can, because I kept telling her, I think I can. And she kept saying, yeah, you can. You just got to figure out a way. But one time we had a conversation that wasn't so happy. I think she had seen someone who not necessarily was capable because of the things that they're going through in their life, not necessarily capable of getting to the next level. And I think the part about it that made it so hard for her is that she couldn't tell me that everybody had the same opportunity. And I knew this already. I know everybody doesn't have the same opportunities. I know that everybody has opportunity. And so I think what she saw kind of broke her. It broke her for a moment. And I hope that the power she instilled in me, the power she put in me to travel this voyage, actually helps her as well. Because you see, when I was talking to Dante and telling him about these opportunities, he's like, wow, you're a veteran? First, he didn't even know I was a veteran. Most people tell me out of the military, oh man, you're not a veteran. But he was like, wow, you're a veteran? For real? Oh man, for real? We can do it? What? Oh. So we got to sitting down. We sat down and we talked about it. We discussed the various options and the stuff that I was looking into. Educational benefits, home loans, being able to get, some medical benefits for a military injury, service-connected injury. I mean, these are things that I had to find for myself, and as I'm looking through them, I'm just talking to him about them, just like anybody else. So I hadn't seen him for a while, right? Dante disappeared, and it seemed like, he got some good news. He was happy when he left, like he found something that he could do, because all Dante wanted to do is he wanted to reconnect with his 8-year-old child as a man, as a Marine who fought for this country. You know how important that is for a Marine? To connect with people they care about? Maybe you don't know. Maybe some of you do understand what it's like to care about people, and you would sacrifice your life for them. So, after talking about the resources and not seeing them for a while, I was like, okay, I wonder what happened to that guy. One day Dante showed up and he just ran up on me and he just bear hugged me, man. He just picked me up, swung me around. I only weigh about 150 pounds, I might be muscular, but I only weigh about 150 pounds, and Dante's a big dude. Big dude. Picked me like 6'2". Picked me up, swung me around like, hey, what's up, man? I'm like, Marines. We got that sibling rivalry. And you know what he said to me? He's like, I activated my benefits, man. I got a home loan. I got a VA home loan. I got that stuff together. And right now, I'm in school to get a master's degree in social work. I was like, man, you in school to get a master's degree? I'm still in school to get my bachelor's degree. He's like, yeah, man, I'm in school to get my master's degree. You see, he had gotten his benefits before me. And he had straightened out his life so much. He had recovered from homelessness, got a job helping people recover from homelessness, and was able to reconnect with his son. Not necessarily with his baby's mama, but he was able to reconnect with his son, and he has a new relationship. And so Dante really inspired me. I mean, he really took me to this next level and said, look, I got to get out here and help people with what I know. If I'm digging through information, if I'm digging through all this stuff to get information, why can't I help people with it? And so, all right, Dante, wherever you are, if you see this video, make sure you hit me up. Please hit me up, because I'd like to share your story more, man. You really changed my life. You changed my world. And I don't know if I have permission to share your story like that, but you really did change my life, and you changed my world. And a lot of people have done this to me in my life, and it's when I start looking through this information that I'm digging through that I start to see where they have affected me, where they have made me who I am today. That person who, I got a lot of people I know, and I'm always saying, look, I just want to help. And people look at me like, I get it. You don't know how much I care until you know how much I care. Well, Dante, thank you, bro. Semper Fi. Anyway, with that being said, before I let some of these tears down, I'm going to go ahead and get into what we were supposed to be talking about today, and that's ideation versus ideology. For those who are on Instagram, you won't be able to see this part of the lesson on Instagram. You have to come on over to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, and check it out, because this has slides and it only shows on the main screen. So I just wanted to get this out in the world, because I think a lot of people try to figure out, what the heck is Doc doing? Do you know who Doc is? What is Doc doing? He been this, he done this, he done been everywhere. You know what I mean? I done been up and down the ladder like everybody else. I've had hard times, I've had good times, I've had great times. I've made a lot of money, tons of money, and lost it all. And now I'm a scholar learning that my life can change, and I can actually help other people change their life. Actually help other people believe. Like I didn't. I thought all was lost at one point. I thought I didn't have anything else I could do. Now I see that, whichever way you believe, I've seen people believe in so many different ways, so many different faiths, so many different people they look up to. It's not what you believe in, it's how much you believe in, how much you have faith in yourself and what you do. Just remember that, folks, because that faith will propel you forward to get everything you want in life. It's that ideation and ideology, not versus. They work together. And that's why ideation versus ideology, thoughts to creed, is so important in this lesson. So with that being said, those of y'all on Instagram, I'll see you soon. Stay tuned for more in the Hot Box with Doc Reo. Peace. I'm out of here. All right, so folks, yes, we're going to talk about ideation versus ideology, as you see on the screen over here. So ideation versus ideology. And when I say we're going to talk about it, we're talking about thoughts to creed. Thoughts to creed. Now, some of y'all probably wondering, what is creed? So if ideation is the formation of ideas and concepts, and ideology is a system of ideas and ideals which form the basis of theory and policy, creed is a basic set of beliefs, guiding principles and practices for a person or a group. I say that again. Creed is a basic set of beliefs, guiding principles and practices for a person or a group. You see, one of the things I think that we forget is that we just have thoughts. We're like, okay, I got this idea. And then we just throw that idea in the gutter. In order to build an idea into a creed, we have to do one major thing. What do you think we need to do? Now, I always talk about dreaming big and I always talk about reaching in the sky and reaching the stars. So one of the things I talk about all the time when we talk about making it towards a better future or reaching towards a better future is reaching for the stars, right? Everybody talks about that. Oh, reach for the stars. Well, I got something different for you. I like this better. If you're going to reach for the stars, why not right in the sky to reach the stars? You see, because this concept for me says that when I'm writing in the sky, I'm writing my ideas into the air. I'm writing that I'm going to pass that reach. I'm writing that I'm going to reach for the stars. You see what I'm saying? My ideas that I put on paper are not ideas just to be thrown away. My ideas that I put on paper are stacks and stacks of books that I've collected over years and years and years, that I go back and look at and remind myself that I have done or completed. Like I was saying earlier, I met my dreams. I reached my dreams. Got to all my goals and lost sight of the most important part of dreaming, is that you got to keep dreaming. You see, when I made it to a level of producer, it wasn't the best level of producer. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't like the greatest producer on the planet. I did do a lot of music videos for Impress Kids, for Universal Music Group. I did work for a lot of different companies and do a lot of producing across LA. I mean, it's not that difficult if you just work hard. You can end up working on every set, but that doesn't mean you're gonna be great at it. You see, I enjoyed doing it, and a lot of people said I was really good at it. I'm the one who said I'm not great at it. Why am I not great at it? Because for me to be great at it, I had to reach that highest height. But no, why? Why do I have to reach that highest height to be great at it? You see, being great at creating something is not reaching the highest height. Being great at creating something is being great at creating something. Reaching the highest height is being great at business, the business of creating something. That's a whole nother aspect. And so what I thought was great wasn't what I wanted to be. And I was looking for the wrong target. I was looking for the wrong future. So when I got up there and I was up there, I started to get depressed. I started to get angry. I started to dislike my life. I wasn't helping anybody anymore. All the people I helped, I already gotten their union gigs and got to where they needed to go. And as Jimmy M, and he's like, yeah, man, you know, I was already making that by then. You know, we started out in backyards with cameras. You know what I'm saying? And we went from there to a new level. And now, you know, I mean, Vicky Goldsmith, she'll tell you, we started out in backyards with cameras. You know, these folks will tell you that we took a voyage, and they've continued to go. And when I got to that top of being what I thought was close to the top of a producer, it wasn't really close to the top, but I was getting there. I didn't understand that I needed to write more in the sky. I started throwing away what I was writing. I stopped looking at it. I stopped thinking about the future. I started letting my business partner write the ideas and pitch the ideas without me. I didn't give any more ideas. I didn't have any more ideas. Even though I did, I just didn't have any more ideas. And so we got to remember that we got to keep writing out there and putting it out there so that we reach the stars, right? So part of belief is taking the action, and another way to take action is to write things down. I think a lot of people forget to write things down. And you're gonna hear me say that a numerous amount of times in this video. So get out a pen and a pad and start writing things down. So, and I say that on purpose because I said this over and over to a friend of mine, and unfortunately he never got it. He's no longer with us. But he had ideas. Every time I talked to him, he'd have 40, 50 ideas in one sitting. And I've never seen anybody come up with so many ideas, and some of them were great. But in order to take action upon those ideas, we have to put them on paper so that we see them, so that we take action. And once we see them and take action, our world takes up on a different canvas. So in this video, what will you learn? How to recognize opportunities as they arise. How to utilize willpower to balance timing. And, well, how to avoid losing the path. I hope I put the over there. Sometimes I put your in places of thes, and it's not your path, it's the path. Because the path for you changes as we grow. So I want to make sure you understand that. Not everybody has the same path. But it is a path. It is the path that works. It may not be the path that works for you, but it's the path that you have to find that works for you. Who am I and why I'm here? Now, earlier I know I did already talk about who I am and why I'm here, but let's get to the general basics so some people can understand about some of the stuff I was talking about earlier. All right. I'm a scholar with 5 degrees. Yes, I have gone through the muck and the mire to come back myself from being homeless. When Dante met me, I had just made it back from being homeless myself, not too far back from there. And I was looking into things that I can get done, and Dante actually beat me at getting his benefits. So when he saw me, I was still working out things, and that's because I had another complication. My DD-214 was lost in the system. It was stuck right here at the LA Federal building, but nobody knew it was there, and it couldn't be found anywhere in the system because they used to mail out the actual paper ones. So, you know, hey, so it took me 10 more years before I was able to receive my benefits and be able to use them to attend USC. Boy, it helps with that price. But, you know, I have 5 degrees. 1 in social behavior science, 1 in film, television, electronic media, 1 in journalism, and 1 in arts and humanities. It's because I spent a lot of time in school, like my mother, professional student, like my father, an educator, learning what it takes to make it in this society for me. I was a professional musician at the age of 5, 6, 7, maybe 8. 7, 8, somewhere around there. And I was actually being paid to play. Sometimes not being paid to play, but playing in front of named individuals who paid the school for us to play. So I was in the midst of opportunity even though I was living in the midst of oppression. You see, I grew up in South Central Los Angeles. And so even though I went to this school in downtown, which is, another gang neighborhood as well, I had to go through gang neighborhoods, having an uncle who is now an OG, continually still an OG in a gang, have this light over me, as well as the neighborhoods that I lived in caused me danger. And especially for a little kid, I was the shortest kid. I was 4'11" all the way up until the 10th grade. That's when our 9th grade, somewhere around there, I started shooting up, had my growth spurt. But I was a little boy with an instrument that I had to walk around with, as you see right here in this photo. And first chair trumpet. So I had privilege in one sense. People were looking to me for these privileges. I mean, looking to me to give me more privilege, but yet and still, I still had to go home every day and deal with disparity. So it's not that it was easy, but for some reason school kept me going along. Must be my genes. If you don't know about epigenetics, you should take a look at it, because we suffer from some of the genes of our ancestors, some of the things in the genes of our ancestors, things that were turned off and on in our genes that cause us to do certain things, to act certain ways, to be a certain way. And so, even though I was a professional musician and graduated from a performing arts school with all kind of opportunity, I walked away from it because I saw an evil side to it. I saw Death Row live and in person, walking in those doors a few times. Yeah, I was there a few times, and I saw some of the craziness. I saw places tell artists that they had to perform their music a certain way, and all the music I had written back then, I didn't want anybody to play it any way but the way I wanted it played. I saw people telling me I had to do things the way they wanted me to do, and I didn't see most of these people helping me when I was a ward of the court and had no place to live. I didn't see most of these people helping me when I didn't have food, I didn't have shelter. I didn't see these people helping me when I was still making it to school every day and getting my diploma. Yeah, that was high school for me. The only one I saw helping me was a man named Jason Yontif and his family. So I'm gonna be honest about that. And Colin Bellows and his family too. Let's not, and there's a couple of other, friends who were cool for a couple of weekends too. So I'm not gonna say that, one's a rabbi, one's a rabbi in Israel right now, Mr. Gideon. You know what I'm saying? We'd had good weekends at Gideon's house too, Gideon Hirsch. You know what I mean? So you gotta understand that I've been around people who have gone from zero to hero. I've been around some of these great names you will see in our music industry today because I played with them, I performed with them. I was there with them. But at some point, I made, as my former lieutenant would say, an adult decision, yet I was still a child. I was still a child who had to grow up faster than I should have. And in that growing up faster than I should have, it took me some time to really get it all together. It still takes some time to get it. I think it takes time for everybody to get it all together. But it took me some time to get it all together when it came to entertainment. And so I spent time in the military. I spent time in the military to save myself from going to jail. Truth. Stone cold truth. I was stuck in Antelope Valley and I wanted to get out, and my foster parents had a hole, and they had me in a hole. They didn't have me in a hole, but I put myself in a hole. Yeah. I lived in a hole. And it's not really their fault. I could have left any time, which when I finally did leave, it was a little bit too late. And by that time, I was around the wrong people, partying with the wrong scene. Matter of fact, I stole a car. That's right. To get out of Antelope Valley. When I stole that car, I guess I wanted to be caught because I kept it for a week. And I was caught. Went to jail. But God saw that as long as I paid restitution, as long as I did certain things that God saw that he released me from jail. He released me from that felony. That's right. I didn't get the felony. I had to take care of restitution. I had to put myself to work. 15 days straight hard labor. Right after Lollapalooza, cleaning up Lollapalooza. I was the worst. It was a great weekend before Lollapalooza, but then having to clean it up was just the worst. After that, my voyage changed, and I went in the military, and I feel like I lost some of my soul in a lot of different ways. And when I started to gain it back, that's what my lieutenant said, adult choices have adult consequences, because, well, I made some choices that I guess I didn't know better about. I even turned down West Point because I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't have any guidance. I didn't have anybody in my corner at that time. I was out there in the military. Just me. Just me. Possibly getting court-martialed for carrying a flag for my mother. An LGBT, a gay pride flag for my mother in my wall locker. Because it was don't ask, don't tell. But when I got out of the military, I got out and I started making sales. I had odds and ends jobs. I worked in restaurants. I worked in strip clubs. I bartended. I waited tables. I served tables. I trained. I managed. I did other things too that I shouldn't have done. And when I finally got back to LA, I want to get back in music and entertainment. That was a long haul. And I noticed some of the things I didn't want to be in anymore. So I came back and I said, I'm going to go into film and television. So I went into it and I became a producer. Actually, first off, I first went back in as a background artist, just like it was in Newsies and Musical when I started Newsies and Musical and became a dancer. How did that go from one point to one end when I was a child and then return to that point again when I was adult? I started all over again in the same industry. And going from that point to point B changed my world because, as Jimmy Hammond would always say, you're the hardest working man in this industry. I didn't see that. I had imposter syndrome. I didn't think I was capable. As hard as I worked, as much as I did, and as everywhere I was at, I didn't think I was elevated to the point of having the titles that I had. That's right. And I became a broadcast journalist. Same thing. I became a program director and I did the work, but I didn't feel, still sometimes I don't feel like I've earned these titles. And right now I'm getting a master's in education and I wonder to myself, when I graduate in 2022, even though I already have a doctorate in divinity, when I graduate in 2022, will I feel any better? I don't think so. No matter what I've done, no matter what voyage I have made, I won't feel any better until I believe myself, which this is my point to y'all. Each and every day I'm telling myself this. Until I believe myself that I am capable of achieving all the goals that I've already achieved. Even when I look back, I'm like, it's not as shiny as I want it to be. We are going to be the hardest people on ourselves when other people on the outside are going to see us in a different light. And we got to remember that. We got to remember that. And so I know I've extended this out even further than I normally do. But I really thought this was important to really go through this voyage because I think people thought I had it easy. I don't remember it being easy. And I don't remember it getting to the point of being complete. I heard somebody say the other day, we never, I've heard this before, we never really complete anything. We talk about this in filmmaking. Any edit is never going to be complete. We're always going to want to edit it more and more and more, but we just got to get it out the door. It's just got to be sold. Stop trying to create it and keep trying to sell. And that's what I've been doing. This 52 weeks, I'm creating it. So I'm cutting this 52 weeks short. Not the 52 weeks of lessons. They're still going to be free. I'm still going to put out 52 weeks of lessons, but I'm formulating a new plan, folks. I'm changing my whole plan, except for the 52 weeks of lessons. But I'm formulating some back-end stuff that where I'm opening up my program this summer. I want to see how it goes. No more beta testing. No more just out there freebies for I'm putting out a real program this time. And I'm going to break it down for you all, because for me, that's the imposter mentality that gets in the way. That syndrome, that imposter syndrome, it brings this mentality, this mindset upon me that makes me stop from doing some of those things. So I've been hearing a lot of people say it, and it's been poking me in the back, and I'm like, yeah, I've been procrastinating because of school, and I'm gonna keep saying it's because of school. It's not because of school. It's because of imposter syndrome. All this experience that I've chalked up over the years, all these things I know how to do all over the years, and I still have it. And no matter how high I climb, I'm still gonna have it poking me. But it's letting it affect my life that stops me from making moves. And so, as I tell you all the time that I'm case study number one, I'm not trying to be your hero. I'm just trying to show you that you can do it too. And so as I go from zero to scholar, we're gonna fire up that horn and let people know that it's time for us to just get out there, make moves, and grow. So, with that being said, my analytics tells me that most of y'all are still watching the show, and while you're watching the show, I don't see all of y'all subscribing, but I understand that. But if you like anything I'm talking about, if you find any value in any of the content I'm giving, if any of this is sparking, pulling at your chords or strings, please smash that like button. Or you can push the mini doc and subscribe to us. The little mini doc in the corner over here, that little mini doc. And if you push that mini doc and subscribe to us, make sure you check down to the subscribe button and push that bell for future notifications and set it up the way you want for you. Because I think it's important. I think it's important that if you like something of anything that I'm saying, if anything I'm saying is providing value to you, it's going to provide value to somebody else. And when you push that like button or when you push that subscribe button, it shares it out to more people who I might be able to help as well. I always say I want to help one person, but no, I want to help one more person because I see the people I've helped out there. And I'm not trying to say that I'm this big bad. No, I'm not. I'm not at the top of the charts. I'm just a guy who likes to help other people get ahead, and I like to help people sometimes I help people and I don't ever meet them. I've sent people messages that help them, and I've never talked to them again. I may have tried to follow up, but they may be gone somewhere else. But I know that I've helped them at that moment that I last saw, and that is enough for me. And yeah, for me to help more people, I do need to make money. And so I do ask that when you do share this, just make sure you just keep sharing it out to your friends who will help, so that when I do get to that point of finishing the setup for my new e-commerce setup, and I do put out content, if you or somebody you know wants to pick up that content, you can jump right in and purchase it. I'm not trying to break anybody's arm. I'm not trying to break anybody's leg. I know everybody's out here just like we all are struggling with this pandemic, and all of our numbers have changed. But if we work together and we help each other, we can all grow together. I mean, isn't that how America was built in the first place? So let's get together and make things happen. So, how do we recognize opportunities as they arise? How do you recognize opportunities as they arise? You see, if you're anything like I've been in my life, you've probably been scattered. It's not easy. It's not easy to maintain our focus. That's the number one thing we have to do in order to recognize opportunities. We got to be focused on our dreams. We got to be focused on our goals. We got to be focused on our path and where we're going to go, right? We have to be looking for these opportunities because we're focused in that lane. And when we stay in that lane, we start to gain. See, so it's important that whatever helps you focus is what you need to do to help you. I mean, what helps you to focus? That's what I had to ask myself. What helps me focus? Well, for me, water. I love jacuzzis, or as I've been having to do, a hot bathtub koozie. You know what I mean? I have this thing, and when I get into a jacuzzi and I'm sitting back and just chilling jacuzzi, all of a sudden I can pull out my iPhone and I just start writing down ideas. And ideas just keep coming out. And I'm able to just process these ideas left and right. I mean, some of these lessons that I've written over the past few years, I've been in the bathtub writing them. Or writing down the ideas of the lessons, the concepts. And some people will laugh at that. Yeah, you can laugh at that. You can laugh at that all you want to. You know what I'm saying? But when we talk about opportunities, we have to have some kind of way to draw those opportunities to us. We have to have some kind of way to draw those opportunities in. And if we're going to draw those opportunities in, we have to be able to focus in order to see those opportunities when they begin. So, what helps you focus? Do you know how to focus? And I don't really mean that in a disrespectful way. I mean, for me, I feel like I'm learning new ways of focusing every single day. Because our goals change. And we have to figure out new ways of focusing on new goals when our goals change, especially when we have to think about tomorrow because of what's happening today. We should always be thinking about tomorrow because of what's happening today. But I think a lot of times we get caught up in the rat race of today that clouds our judgment and clouds our minds and essentially is our enemy. It's our enemy. That rat race is almost another social construct that we allow ourselves to be involved in, that we allow ourselves to be mind controlled by. You know, I'm not a rat. I may have to work hard on a daily basis or do things on a regular basis to get things done, but you don't see me crawling in any holes to go to sleep. You don't see me scurrying under buildings. So don't put that picture upon yourself. Eliminate that statement, oh yeah, I gotta go out and get in the rat. Eliminate that from your whole mindset. Part of my problem is, I know this for a fact, part of my problem is I see new practices that I want to integrate into my own strategies, and I try to integrate these new things in, and when I start trying to mix these things in, things don't balance right because, you know, you're fixing, like you're transposing and changing something, so you got to kind of balance it out. Like if I have a set of scales and I decide to fix the pin in the middle that balances out the scales, but for some reason the weight's a little bit off and it has to be reset, but I decide I'm still gonna put some more stuff on the head, on the end that's weighing lower, it's just gonna keep going down. And nothing's going up. If we wanna go up, we gotta have a balance on both sides. You know, have you ever seen like those window washers? When they go up, the scaffold goes up one side at a time on either side. It doesn't just go up one side and pull the other side up. If that happened, the person will fall out and fall down 10, 15, 20, 100 stories. It takes balance. But I digress. Some of these concepts work for others and, well, it may not work for me. It may not work for you. But the information that I found out recently, just not recently, but in the past few years, has changed my outlook and it has allowed me to see through all these obscurities. I mean, especially these obscurities we see on TV from people's statements. Don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do. And make sure you write them down too. You see, because we tend to multitask. What's the problem with multitasking? Multitasking doesn't exist. I'm sorry. All you people out there that say, oh yeah, I multitask. It doesn't exist. Computers don't even multitask. They actually do one task really quickly and then they switch to the next task. That's what we call multitasking. Do one task really quickly and switch to the next task. Not doing several things at once. Nobody does several things at once, and when you do several things at once, you neglect something. We will always neglect something when we do more than one thing at once. Like, for instance, I'm purposely talking towards the camera right now, but if I start paying attention over here and talking over here, you will hear me better, but then you will feel like I'm not paying attention to you. You will feel neglected because I'm not talking to you. I'm talking over there to that camera that's not even on. You see, so that would just annoy you, wouldn't it? If the whole time you saw me right now, I was talking this way. And nobody else was over here but just you and I talking. Wouldn't that annoy you? I know it would annoy me. Like, why didn't he put the camera in front of him? Why didn't he talk to us? You know, he's talking to us. You know, why didn't he want to break that wall? But I feel like multitasking is a great way to waste time, pretty much. All right, be honest with you. And that's right. I really mean it's a great way to waste time. I mean, the misconception is that we can all multitask when the sooner we give up that lie, the easier it is we can move towards the truth. When we multitask, we alternate our focus between two different objects, right? Between two different tasks. And that means we will always give something less attention. And when we give certain things less attention, that's a recipe for failure. That is a recipe for failure. So instead of multitasking, do what I do. Switch task. Or task switching is what it is. And that is taking one part, completing a task, and then once you're done with that task, stopping and starting the next task. You can do a small portion of that task quickly and put it aside, especially like we do in video editing. I know I do that all the time. I might be working at something in Premiere Pro, and then I got my Audible open, so I pop open Audible. But now Audible and Premiere Pro are open. Premiere Pro's open, and I may be working in Audible. I edit something in Audible, I save it in Audible, and when I leave it open, I jump back over to Premiere Pro to make sure it loads the source media file. That is switching back and forth, one item at a time. I'm not doing several things at a time. Now, within that process of me going from Premiere to Adobe Audition, there are several things that I'm doing to edit that audio, to prepare that audio for export. But, I'm not switching tasks. I have one task with several steps in it. So, when we understand, when people say they're multitasking, this is really the key. Some people will say they're multitasking and they're doing one task. They're just doing several steps in one task. That's not really multitasking. You still are switch tasking within that task. All right. Now, those people who say that they are multitasking and they're doing several different tasks, several different actual tasks, you'll notice that your productivity is much lower. As a matter of fact, researchers have proven that we don't have the memory to do those tasks properly, that we forget little steps here and there when we are not focused on things, and that researchers have proven that it's a big difference from when we actually focus on one thing and move to the next project or the next item than when we switch task or task switch, or as y'all like to call it, or most people like to call it. I don't want to say y'all because you may not call it that or you may not do it. As some people like to call it, multitasking, which is not. So I think that's important. one of our problems as researchers were trying to explain is that it stems from memory. And as we talk about in a previous lesson, a short-term memory and a working memory are short. So unlike computers, we can't even task switch fast enough and remember exactly what we're inputting. We start task switching, then we gotta stop and pause. Oh, what was I doing? Our brain fries up by the time we could have already done one of the other tasks. So, I digress there. Although most people think they can and will consistently try, however, researchers have proven that all we do in the end is neglect something and waste time. So, habits. Let's talk about habits. Have you looked at your habits? I know I have. I look at my habits every day because I got some bad habits and I got some good habits and I got some really great habits. Got some really great habits too. So I got to remember that, and they make me feel good when I realize and when I break them down. Have you sitting down and broken down your habits on a piece of paper? Good habits, bad habits, great habits, write them down, 3-column paper. Have you done that? I think it's a good idea for us to do that. You see, because when we look at our habits, when we really look at our habits, we're honest with ourselves about the things we do. Then we look at the things we need to change and we start changing them. I'm not saying we change them all. We're not going to be able to change all of our habits. That's just the way life is, all right? But we can take each habit one day at a time or one habit at a time and pace ourselves through fixing certain habits so that we grow, go, and know. You see what I'm saying? Because when we grow and we go, we start to know more and we start to grow more and we start to go more and we start to know more and we continuous. Now, I think I didn't say that before. Y'all know my statement, grow to go. And now that I heard somebody else start talking about my grow to go statement, so I started adding in another statement, grow to go to know, because I realized every time I go, I end up having to learn more knowledge in order to grow more so I can go more. So it becomes even a bigger cycle. And that's just like what I was talking about believing, to retrieve, to achieve, to succeed. It's a cycle that's continuous and that we may go back and forth with, take one step back to take 2 steps forward with. It's one of those things that we have to live in, live with, be with, and understand. And so when you look at your habits and you're honest about your habits, you take a look at the ones that you can change and you go at your own pace to change them. Let's talk about purpose. Purpose. Wow, another one. Find your purpose, not your passion. Don't get them confused. Don't get them confused. Okay, look. I don't know if y'all saw that movie out there, and everybody keeps talking about it too. We all keep talking about it because it all left a stain in our mind. It left a stain in our mind. What was the name of that movie? Why can't I think of the name of that movie? Oh my goodness. I didn't forget. It's just harder to recall. It's in my long-term memory. Soul Man! Should have been a little bit of soul. So, yeah, soul. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. I don't know why I couldn't remember soul. Anyway, it's been in our minds. It's been in our hearts. It's been in our lives because we start to contemplate that idea that maybe our passion isn't our purpose. Maybe our purpose isn't our passion. And it's funny because I'm sure whoever was writing this and coming up with this idea was going through the same things that I was going through in life. The same similar situations I've been going through in life, looking back and saying, wow, am I completing my purpose or am I completing my passion? What am I doing? Where am I going? Is my life laid out for me the way it should be? Or am I just going through step after step of cycle that is part of this race that has been built to keep humans in confusion? To keep humans blind to what's really going on behind the scenes of money, power, and privilege. This is a understanding that if we are running in that race, then we don't see what the left hand's doing at all while they smack us in the face. And that's scary. Because we get smacked in the face every day. And a lot of people think, oh yeah, oh, all right, yeah, we get smacked in the face because of these social issues. No, we don't get smacked in the face over social issues. We get smacked in the face over worker issues. Worker issues that float through the Supreme Court on a regular basis. Worker issues that we don't know about because we're working every day in the race. It's time to stop working in the race and pick up your own pace. You see what I'm saying? Because when we start to pick up our own pace, we get on that paper chase. You know what I'm saying? So I just had to make that all rhyme just because it just felt right, And so we get on a real voyage for money because I think a lot of people have been letting the money chase them instead of chasing the money. Because when we chase the money, I don't even know if we should be chasing the money. I think that's a bad word too. Why are we chasing something that's supposed to be working for us? This is just a dang tool. Stop chasing it. Remember how the pyramid works, the inverted pyramid. So when we find our purpose, not our passion, I wrote something down here and I thought it was funny. It says, I don't have a tail. At least not one that I can see enough to chase. So, I guess I was telling myself already to get rid of that word chase. To get rid of that passion chase. Stop chasing a tail that doesn't exist. Why are we chasing something that's not there? Are you running in circles like a little dog? If you are, stop. Sit back, take a breath for a second. Get a pen and a pad and start writing down your ideas instead of being scattered. I gotta tell myself that every day. Give yourself 5 minutes, write for 5 minutes. I bet if that 5 minutes you write for 20. Research. Because I'm not a dog or a cat neither. I'm not a dog or a cat, and neither are you. So don't act like one. Don't run around chasing your tail. Let's get down and let's look at this research. The thing we need to make the change in the life that we live. The thing we need to make that growth in the life we live is that knowledge that gives us power to give. You see what I'm saying? Because people think, I've even said it that many of these wealthy business owners are not job creators. They're not job creators because the job creators are the people that they sell the products to. Because without the people that they sell the products to, there would be no jobs. Right? But yet and still, they do give people opportunity. They do give people opportunity to get from point A to point B as long as they agree to allowing some diversity, equity, inclusion, and intersection, and get rid of the intersectionality, in action. And I think that is just something that we've been talking about this week. It's just deep for me how many people out there are so talented and so skillful. And yet, you feel less of yourself. You feel less of yourself because somebody has made you feel less of yourself because of your race, because of your color, because of your background, because of your culture, because of your sexual preference, or because of your sexual identity. I've been just as guilty of making people feel that way. It's wrong. It's wrong. Because of somebody's gender. I mean, why? Why do we find so much joy in hurting other people through segregation? When it's diversity and unity that allows us all to grow as a nation. Why is that so difficult for us? I don't have any answers to that one. But research helps us individually believe in ourselves so that we can make that change in our own world, in our own environment. Maybe we could be the advocates for change in other environments. So I say, I cannot stress how important research is for anyone seeking change. Just remember that the web is deceiving. Beware of where you get your information. You know, there's professional researchers everywhere, and they rely on peer-reviewed material or content from reputable sources. I just gotta say that. Don't forget to be productive, though. Gotta be productive. If you're gonna research, be productive. Don't just keep digging yourself in a research hole. I've done that. I've been stuck in a research hole. You be stuck in that research hole and be like, and then it's freaking 3 weeks later and you still ain't done nothing. So you know what I'm saying? It's time to make things happen even though you're in a research hole. I've done it. I've been in that research hole and had to fix stuff. Had to do different stuff. And being in that research hole only makes you think about stuff that you're not going to apply. Especially if you're in the research hole and you haven't written any of the ideas down. I'm telling you, you're going to keep hearing me say that. I'm going to go back for a second. Don't just stay busy. Be productive and methodical. Commitments. This is the big one. If somebody offers you an amazing opportunity, but you are not sure you can do it, say yes, then learn how to do it later. One more time. If someone offers you an amazing opportunity, but you are not sure if you can do it, say yes and learn how to do it later. Sir Richard Branson. This is the truth. Yes, fake it till you make it, but no. Because if somebody is coming to you to ask you about something, more or less, you've probably portrayed some knowledge of it. So you're not really faking it. So don't let the imposter syndrome get in the way. That's the problem. Everybody talks about that fake it till you make it. And then you have all these big folks out there talking about all these people who faking it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has some information to give. So when somebody tells people out there that all these people out there faking it, everybody has some information to give. You know why? Because you have something to show somebody who wants to see it. And don't believe in the hype of all these people out there telling you you can't do it, you can't, or people putting you down when you're in their environments or in their rooms or even on Clubhouse. You might run in their Clubhouse room and they might have their head swole. I don't care how much money they make. Their head might be too swole for you to be a part of their environment. So leave. Don't be a part of their environment if their head too swole. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, it's important for me to be around like minds. Like minds. Now, we may not agree on everything, but we have the same wavelength and we have the same flow. And so I don't care where these folks come from. I'm gonna be honest. I know some of these folks who are shady. I'm listening to them and I hear the shadiness in their voice. So watch out, folks. Be aware. And when you make commitments, make commitments with people who can change your world. And people that you can change their world too. I mean, don't look down on the little man, because if you can change their world, if you can help them, help them. I heard somebody say something the other day. How did he say it? He says, matter of fact, I think I wrote it down. Did I write it down? No, I didn't write it down. Oh, wow. Oh, yes, I did. Say yes until you can say no. When you can say no, say yes to those who would never say no. I thought that was powerful. That blew me away. I forgot who said that. I didn't even get the name of who said it. I think it's somebody else's quote anyway. But say yes until you can say no. When you can say no, say yes to those who would never say no. That's how we should be. And we all have a problem with that because we all get caught up in our own reality. You know what I'm saying? But It's the same thing as Richard Branson is saying here. If somebody offers you an amazing opportunity, but you're not sure if you can do it, say yes, then learn how to do it later. Take the opportunity. More or less, you probably know a little bit about it. You just need to press yourself to get the rest. Path. Woo. Choose your direction. Make sure you stay on your direction and make moves. You know what I mean? You got to take the steps to go forward. You can't just choose a path and just watch it. I'm going to look down this road for a while. If all you had to do was write a path to get to some water and not die, and you stood there with the map after writing the path and didn't take the path, then you're going to die. So take the dang path. Take action. And make sure you have somebody that can help you or encourage you along the way. You know, I think that's been one of my hardest things, is that I'm always having to reach outside of my circles for encouragement. And it's nothing against my family. It's just the way, you know, it's my genes. It's my genes. It's our family genes. We're independents. You know, we're survivors. We're the people you can throw out in the middle of nowhere, like I have been, dropped in the middle of the wood line with no tools, no nothing, and I'll still make it back. We are the survivors. And so, since we are survivors, we could be great entrepreneurs if we could survive together. However, we have a problem with that in our family. Matter of fact, I'll tell you something right now. I was writing my uncle, you know what I mean? Let's just be real right now. I was writing my uncle the other day, and I'm typing him, and I'm like, hey, Unc, you know, we should sit down with my mom, and you know, we should talk some real business, some real family business, right? I'm trying to get the clan together, right? I'm trying to put things down, right? You know what I'm saying? And I ain't even asking for money. I'm coming to them talking about, look, we need to get something, you know, because I know my uncle has children, and they have children. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about generational wealth. I'm talking to my uncle. You know what he told me? You want to know what he told me? It better not be some scam. This is the problem with our culture. This is the problem with our genes. The first thing that comes to his mind, we blood. I haven't asked for him for nothing for years. Nothing. The first thing he thinks is, oh, it better not be a scam. So, is that the picture you have of me? You know what I'm saying? And we're family. And so, understand that hate is not him hating me. It's him loving me the best way he knows how. You see what I mean? And so, we can't take that hate and let that hate affect us and change us from our dreams. And that's one of the things I've been fighting with. I've been like, maybe I shouldn't talk to him because, you know, he doesn't even have faith in me. So if he doesn't have faith in me, how can I have faith in him? You see what I mean? But it's me having faith in him that would allow him to have faith in me. You see what I'm saying? We got to be able to stay strong and stay together. Accountability. Got to have somebody to keep you accountable. Let's talk about these 4 pillars of growth again. You know why? Because as we think about the power of thoughts and how the steps will help us build and strengthen our creed, right? As we think about the power of thoughts and how the steps that we take will help us build and strengthen our creed, we got to remember that it's not going to be an easy road. We're going to fall back, fall forward, climb up, climb left, climb right. We won't go diagonal because we always got to go back and around this circle right here. Believing to retrieve, to achieve, to succeed. And when we succeed, we probably have to go back and achieve again to succeed more. We probably got to go back to retrieve more, to achieve more. We probably got to go back to believe more, to retrieve more. So it's always a cycle that we're going to be using these 4 pillars to change our world, change our life, change our mindset, and change our everything. You see, it's so important. It's so important that we fight. We fight. Just like Dante did. Even when he gave up, when he heard of an opportunity, he fought. It's so important we do that. We fight for ourselves, and we fight for the ones we love. And it takes us believing to do it. It's the only way we're going to be able to do it, is if we believe that we can succeed. So how do we utilize willpower to balance timing? Well, let's play a little game. Y'all remember this game when we was kids? Red light, green light. Y'all remember that game? Yeah, you know. So the thing about utilizing willpower is controlling our own willpower. And I want to go from emotional intelligence, where he talks about in schooling our emotions. Daniel Goleman says, he talks about how, when he talks about how we manage our emotions, that if we manage our emotions, we have to managing our emotions is part of managing our habits. So when we manage our emotions, we're able to manage our habits, and when we're able to manage our habits, we're able to move forward. So in order for us to move forward, we got to play red light, green light. You know what I'm saying? How many times? Hey, remember when you were a kid and you played red light, green light, you know, you had people on the sidewalk, and you know, you got one person standing there, he's like, red light, yellow light, green light. And people get tricked whenever somebody say yellow light, because that means they got to move slow, but people forget to move slow, you know. And so understand that life is similar. Life is similar because our emotions end up in 3 different phases. We're either in the red phase, the yellow phase, or the green phase. And if we can control our phase and keep it in the green phase, we end up challenging our world and making opportunities. That's how we get through. That's how we utilize willpower. We need it. We need to balance ourselves so that we hit things at the right time. Because I can see us walking into something and getting angry and then turning around and meeting the person that we're supposed to, but being upset when we meet the person that we're supposed to meet. And because of how we are acting, or because of what we're doing, or because we're doing the wrong thing in public eye, we lose our opportunity. There's many examples out there, and I wanted to talk about an example that just happened in the last 24 hours with The Mandalorian, but I'll leave that to your imagination. Sometimes we have to watch our energies, right or wrong. Right or wrong. I'm not picking a side on this one. But right or wrong, we have to watch our negative energy. Because when we don't watch our negative energy, it takes over us and we lose our opportunities. Now, this person might gain more opportunities, but boy, did I like their character. Too bad. And so I look at this as an opportunity for all of us to see what we can grow from as well. You see, because somebody else's mistakes, somebody else's faults can actually teach us a lot. You know, and hopefully they learn from it too, because if they learn from it, then they'll be more successful just as well. So it's not all a loss. It's never a loss. It should always be an opportunity. So how do we utilize willpower to balance our timing? Well, when we end up in the red light zone, we gotta stop. Just stop. When we're all angered up and hyped up and it's too much for us to do anything, we just gotta stop. Like right now, I gotta stop and grab some water. Sometimes we gotta stop. And when we stop, we take a moment to see what's going on around us, because we end up changing our emotions a little bit. We take a deep breath. We start to let our energy mellow out. We let the brain matter start to pump. And that brain matter starts to help us try to find solutions. You know, and usually when we're trying to find solutions, we actually, for some reason, when we start letting the brain matter pump, we start losing the negativity. And when we lose that negativity, what happens? All of a sudden, a light bulb goes off. We come up with solutions. And solutions help us do what? Help us find ways to make change. But that's just the first phase. We still got to play the rest of the game. We still just standing there with miles of road in front of us to get to that person calling out those colors. So we waiting, right? They may give us a yellow light. And in the yellow light, we got to think about sharing. When it comes to our mentality, we have to stop and let that anger sit and let it out. You have to let it out somehow. So now that we've stopped, the action that we must take is to share it. Explain why we feel that way, even if it's just to ourselves. Because when we start to let it out and voice it, and I mean, some people let it out and write it down. You can write it down, yeah, that's great. But you're gonna wanna write that down and voice it. Why? Because when we voice it, we can actually hear it ourselves. And when we hear it ourselves, we take it in. We take it in and we start to actually think about it and think about the possible solutions a little deeper, right? It gives us the opportunity to prepare our path by preparing our way. I guess it's the same thing both times, but by actually giving ourselves opportunities to meet, making commitments. When we decide that we want to prepare our path and make commitments, we have to stay in a phase of life that, in positive. I wanted to avoid saying the word, but look, we have to stay positive. There's no, we have to keep a PMA, as I would like to say. Keep a positive mental attitude. Be grateful for the things that are around us. By keeping that positive mental attitude allows us to plan ahead much better than we would ever without. When we're just thinking about the negative thoughts and trying to get ahead and not setting goals and not staying positive and not planning ahead, we set ourselves up for failure. You know, you should always have another way out of something. Even though we're not always going to have a way out of something, but we should always be thinking about it, looking towards it, trying to figure it out. That's what makes us human. We always try to figure it out. When we stop trying to figure it out, we might as well let the world take us on. I mean, take us down. I mean, I hate to say it, but when we stop, it's like when we stop moving, we're dead. So don't stop moving. Keep acting. Keep planning ahead. I'm trying to stay away from those terrible thoughts like that, especially at the time that we're in right now. But in green phase reminds me of basic training. Green phase, 1 station unit training. We had red, black, yellow, and green phase. Yeah, that's right. Red, black, yellow, green phase. And you see, it's like a game. You make it through phases in life. You make it through stages in life. And with willpower, you have to make it through stages. Let's say you end up in let's say, you know, I know a particular individual, and I can't really say his name, so let's call him Tom. All right. Tom had an issue with his next door neighbor. And instead of talking it out with his next door neighbor, he came by and threatened him with a gun. That's right. Tom came by, knocked on his neighbor's door, and when his neighbor opened the door, he put the gun to his neighbor's head and threatened him. And walked away. Not an hour later, the police were at Tom's door, arresting him and putting him in jail. Now, had he thought about his anger, because this was immediate action, he just popped into action. Argument, went in his house, came back, knocked on his neighbor's door, put the gun to his neighbor's head. Over something really small. Something that didn't deserve that type of attitude. And so it's easy to be caught up in your emotions, but if we allow ourselves to move with the flow of red light, green light, this flow of a game and stop, calm. It's like they talk about when you're caught on fire, stop, drop, and roll. You got to think enough to stop first. You know, you got to have instinct to stop first. Practice it. Practice it, whatever you can, so that when you end up in the green zone, you're just doing nothing but taking action. You're following your plan. You're looking all around and making sure you see what you need to see. You're writing down stuff that you need to write down, and you're paying attention to the outcomes. And when you pay attention to the outcomes, you see the difference in what it was like before and what it's like now. And you know that all you have to do in the end is replicate it. Do it over and over again. You know what I'm saying? And having that kind of confidence and being able to jump from red to green fast comes from the skills of this inverted pyramid. Because when things coming at you and you're already self-actualized and you already got the esteem and you already are walking down the pyramid instead of trying to climb up and reach for those things, when you already have those things and you're going down the path, it's easier for you to let things roll off your shoulders. It's easier for you to think about things and stop and move from red to green, because you see opportunity in this obstacle instead of problems. You see a problem that can be solved. You see solutions instead of problems. See what I mean? And in that's a part of willpower, because it says a crisis that one's will becomes fully engaged. It was the ability to manage the fight or flight reaction. The ability to manage the fight or flight reaction, so common in all of us when we are tested. And if the empathetic bond is sufficiently in place and energized, we will take our own stand and energize others to do so. So in order for us to actually energize our community, or in order for us to actually build up and pump up our community, we gotta really pay attention to our own emotions. Pay attention to our own energies. Samuel Natali and Anthony Libertelli try to point out that when we pay attention to our fight or flight response, when we go from red to green light, then we're able to feel connected to the people around us instead of angry with the people around us. You know, I've had some times I got on the phone with the company and I'm angry because of the service that they're giving me, and the service is not up to par, and I get on the phone and I yell at the person on the phone. I've done it. We've all done it. We yell at the person on the other end. But if we take that moment and calm down and say, look, hey, I know it's not your fault. Have some empathy and say, look, I'm just a little frustrated because the company is not treating me right. It's not you. It's the company that's not treating me right. It's the system that's in place that's not treating me right. When you go through that type of mentality and you don't yell at the person, you work with the person to achieve a greater goal. And we will strengthen our will when we are focused on changing our positive thoughts, because we have to know that thoughts are power. And if we use our intellect to focus our will and take notes, we can rely on our experiences to guide us to the right path. So, write it down. I'm gonna say that throughout the rest of this year. Write it down, because I have to tell myself all the time, write it down, 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 write it down. Simple as that. So where am I at is something that you got to ask yourself. Where are you at in this process? Have you been writing stuff down? Do you have stuff you've written down that you need to go back and look at? Do you have recent stuff that you've been writing down that you're not acted upon? Do you have stuff that you're writing down for the future that you haven't really mapped out yet? Where are you at in this process? Because I had to ask myself, where am I at in this process first? And that's where you start. You start where you're at. Don't try to start somewhere else. Start where you're at. You know, I keep going in these rooms in Clubhouse, and I keep hearing people tell people to jump from point A to point B. without really giving them guidance on how to jump from point A to point B. So people aren't really starting where they're at. They're trying to start where they're not. You know, hey, I'm not an award-winning social media person, but I have worked on a lot of people's social media, and I continue to do people's social media. I don't do my own as best as I should, but I do work on other people's stuff, and now I'm trying to work on my own a little bit more. Actually, not trying, I'm actually doing, if you look back in history here. But as I'm doing the work in my own, I'm still working with other people for their social media. It just so happens that way. And as much as I, in some cases, want to say no because I feel like I'm overwhelmed, I keep saying yes. I keep saying yes and yes. And it's knowing when to say no that saves us. So that's where I'm at in this journey. Knowing when to say no so that I can say no and then not say, only say yes to those who would never say no. This is how I move forward. How can you move forward? I say we got to imprint our direction. And part of imprinting our direction is, what is the first part of imprinting our direction? What do you think the first part of imprinting our direction is? Can I say it one more time? Can I say it again? Can I say it again? Can I? Write it down. Gotta write it down. And then you gotta want to do a little bit of R&D. Now, I like this one. I heard this one recently in the past few months, and I've heard it 3 times in the last few months, and I'm just blown away by it. But R&D stands for rip off and duplicate. I didn't make it up. Some millionaires I've heard say it over and over again, keep saying rip off and duplicate. So rip off and duplicate. I mean, I talked to y'all about this before. Uber, Lyft, Sidecar. Uber started it, Lyft ripped it off, Sidecar ripped it off, Sidecar fell off, Uber and Lyft are still around. Rip off and duplicate. It works. Because there's never gonna be one in just one industry. There's always gonna be more than one. So be one of the players in that industry. Rip off and duplicate. And then don't forget, to have fun. You gotta have fun. If you ain't having fun, and I don't care if I was on beat or not because I couldn't hear the beat, but if you're not having fun, then you're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything. You gotta have some fun in it. Life is not all about work, and that's one of the things I forgot on my journey. I spent all that time working and losing the fun, so that when I got to a point of getting to that producer zone, I wasn't having fun anymore. When I lost that fun, I didn't want to be that guy who booked gigs. I didn't want to be that guy that everybody wanted to get into those job slots. I didn't want to be their guy anymore. All I wanted to do was sit back, drink, and chill. Buy USC, watch games, watch people walk by my apartment, go to Fraternity Row and get drunk. That's all I wanted to do back then. And that's why I didn't attend USC like I should have. That's why I didn't go when I should have. Not once, but twice. This is the 3rd time I've had an opportunity to go to USC, and I'm gonna finish it. So that's why you might see me taking a while to do these lessons when things come up. I had to change the date for this lesson. You know what I'm saying? I had to do what I had to do, change the date, but you see me still live. It's still this week, Sunday to Saturday. Still within this week. I got to pump it out for you tomorrow. I got to take it down and pump it out. But, you know, let's get to your next steps. Soils may toil. It's my quote here. Soils may toil from what may come, but memories last a lifetime. Make sure you make memories. Don't forget along the way. And this is the reason why I say about having fun. We got to stop and say, Arr! Life goes by so freaking fast. Obstacles will get in our way, but the memories we make will stay with us forever. And some of us get, like me, get real sentimental about some of these memories, as some of the people from high school, elementary school, junior high school, and some of the people from military will tell you, I'm a little sentimental. No matter if I liked you or didn't like you, I still get a little sentimental. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, all of that's the same mud, same blood. Same blood, same mud, same, you know what I'm saying? We all related. We're all like this in my heart. You know, and no matter, sometimes I don't like people, but we still, you know what I mean? I had to not, in order for me to not like them, I had to like them at some point, right? So, soils may toil from what should come, but memories last a lifetime. Keep those memories close. And use those memories to get to the next phase, all right? And what are your next steps? Well, you gotta check in. Gotta make sure you know what's going on. Gotta keep track of what you're doing on a daily basis. Gotta keep your eyes peeled. And when these things appear, when opportunities appear, you know, take time for them. So once you've checked your daily plan, you've taken time for opportunities, gotten control of your thoughts, you know, mastered your emotions. And I mean, you're never going to fully master them. You're always going to have something that pops out here, pops out there. But having a general amount of control of our emotions can help us go a long way. And don't forget to keep track of everything that's happening in your life on a daily basis. Got to. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, come on by DocReo.com, or you can call me at 310-844-9285. I appreciate you all for watching. And if you're wondering about the references, the first section I took out of the one thing. I know I was talking about range earlier, and I didn't want to mention the one thing because I look at it this way. We should focus our bigger mission on the one thing, but we need range to achieve that bigger mission. So we might have to bounce around and work jobs here and there and do other things to make our goal. We might have to work another job to finance our goal, but we can do it as long as we focus on things that surround our goal. Focusing on one thing is not just focusing on one little pen without having the iPad to use it with. You see what I mean? You gotta have all your tools in play. Because when you have all your tools in play, you're gonna have an iPad and some apps within that iPad that you can really use that pen with. And you can start making moves, right? So, I did Daniel Goleman. I definitely talked about emotional intelligence. And I definitely went back to higher education and the wealthy, calibrating a moral compass, empathy, ethics, and the trained will in the Journal of Academic Ethics. You know what I'm saying? So, if you're interested in more information, please feel free to contact me anytime you wish. My name is Doc, and I want to make sure that you remember, our road is not straight. It's never going to be straight. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be full of obstacles and twists and turns and bumps and flat tires and busted shoes and maybe even a broken leg or two. But we got to get back up and keep moving forward all the way until we end in the grave. Because I know for me getting older, and this is kind of offset, I joke about this all the time. It's not funny, but I joke about this all the time. You know, if I stop moving, I'm gonna get too stiff and I can't move no more because it hurts. You see, that is one thing about as we get older, we gotta keep moving. We gotta keep exercising. We gotta keep moving that energy, letting that energy flow and circulate. Because we got more of it. We got more of it stored up in here. We got to open that Pandora's box we call of a brain of ours and let some of that stuff out. Let some of that passion, let some of that strength, let some of that power out and change our world. But in order to do it, we got to make sure we journal it. We got to make sure we get out a pen and a pad and write it down. Make sure we document these things. Because when we document these things, we remind ourselves of what we need to achieve, what we want to achieve, what we haven't achieved, and what we can achieve. This is Doc. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Stay tuned for more In the Hot Box with Doc Reo as I come back next week sometime. Actually, I'm probably going to be back Sunday with the next lesson, and I'm going to be pumping this lesson out to you all Saturday. Stay tuned. I'm out of here. Peace. If you or someone you know is having thoughts of harming themselves, please contact the Suicide Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. And if you're a veteran of the armed forces, press 1 after dialing 1-800-273-8255. Doc Reo TV.